Everyone has a story. Stories have power. Hey, John,
How you
great
doing,
to
sir?
see you. They help us understand each other. This is Jessop's Journal. John, it's time to sign into Jessop's Journal.
I'm excited. Do you have to watch? It doesn't make, it's got to be sentimental.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Brother, that was amazing. Thank you.
Boys and girls, children of all ages, in today's Jessop's Journal, wearing 00, a teddy bear kind of guy, from East Grand Forks, Minnesota, John Abzey.
Wow, that was pretty amazing. That was Dan Robert-esque right there.
So for people that don't know Dan Roberts and the little comment there and, you know, the teddy bear and all kinds of stuff, introduce yourself.
My name is John Abzey. I was the original jazz bear for 25 years. And I got out here, like you said, I was from East Grand Forks, Minnesota. And by complete chance and luck, I made it to Utah to be the mascot for the Jazz.
Wow.
And talking about
Yeah.
Roberts, though,
Yeah.
I want to talk about Dan.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Is the fact that he had been there for 35 years. He was our public announcer. He announces all the players and stuff for intros, and the reason I said that is because of his booming voice, and he was amazing. Back in the day, I'd roll into the press room and I'd be like, "Hey Dan, this is what we got going on." I'd give him a little bit of what we needed, and me and him would just play off each other all night long, and he'd save me many times.
Yeah. Well, you know, so how in the world did you get into be a jazz bear in the first place?
You know, it was totally by accident. It actually found me. I had worked in a bunch of CBA teams, which was the Continental Basketball Association, while I was in college. Because when I was in college, I was going to Morehead State University for political science and pre-law. And I was, as a part-time job, I was working for the Fargo-Moorhead acro team. And I lied on my application and said I was a gymnast. And I went in and I just would watch what everybody else was doing to correct gymnastic movements.
Okay.
And I just taught myself. And then after classes, I would stick around and I literally taught myself how to tumble and how to do backflips, along with a plethora of other people like, you know, Mark Strege and Mike Seiner and Steve. Anyway, but there was a ton of people and that helped me kind of just get my gymnastics in. But then a team came to the gym and asked if there was anybody there that wanted to be their mascot in Fargo, North Dakota, which was the Fargo Fever at the time. Poor college kid, you've been there, you know, where it was $25 a night.
There you go. Back then,
Couldn't
probably
pass it
pretty
up.
good money, yeah.
So then, you know, fast forwarding as I worked there, then I was in Winnipeg, Manitoba for a summer job, and then I was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota for the Sioux Falls Sky Force, which is another CBA team. And came out here to do tryouts because I heard that they were having tryouts, and literally got the job offer from Seattle, Sacramento, and Utah.
Wow.
Didn't call anybody back.
Why?
I was scared, little farm boy. So I was just afraid to move away from the farm, and it was just comfortable for me. And Grant Harrison, thank heavens, called me and was just like, "So did you take a job with another team?" And I was just like, "No." And he's like, I could tell that you could almost hear him thinking like, "Well, what the heck?" So then he said, "Well, you know, what are you thinking about doing?" And I said, "I don't really know." And he said, "Well, why don't you come out to Utah?" And I said, "Okay." And then literally it all started from there. And then when I got the job offer, I asked my current wife to marry me. Well, my only wife.
Yeah, okay, good.
And I asked her to marry me, and then I just told her, I said, "You just stay here. I'm going to go out. I'll be out there a year, and I'll come back. I'm going to give it a shot."
Yeah.
I didn't think I had what it took, you know, because I met when I was in Sioux Falls, the Phoenix Gorilla, and he was amazing. And that's when the first realization that being a mascot was a career. You could actually make a living doing it.
So did the mascots know each other?
All of us, yeah.
Yeah.
So let me go back. So 22 years ago, 25 years ago when I got here, calling mascots and talking to them, They were very standoffish. Nobody wanted to share their
Trade
secrets.
secrets thing? Okay, gotcha.
Because like good skits are like gold, you know.
Okay.
That's what you're looking for, is this skit that'll pop. Nobody wanted to share ideas. Nobody was really into talking to other mascots. So 22 years ago, I started a mascot conference, and I was like, you know what? Why can't we network? Because why can't I do a skit that the Phoenix Gorilla did in my city here at the Jazz, and he can do something I did here in Phoenix? Nobody's gonna know.
Right.
But what it does is, you know, like I remember in football, my old high school football coach, his name was Phil Myers, made a comment. He said, we're only as strong as the weakest link. And I was like, you know what? If all of us work together and we can make our careers stronger in what we do, it's going to benefit everybody. And with that, the first conference we had, I think we had 5 guys. And then now it is a must-go-to conference. Everybody comes. The NFL, MLB, and the NHL have all copied it. Wow. And we get so much done. It's an amazing conference, but I think it's really helped the league and the NBA kind of go up a level.
So is it like, you know, because like, for example, in basketball, okay, here is, you know, they're going to do a screen, they're going to do blah, 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 blah. Is there kind of a vernacular of say, okay, this is the name of the skit or the action of the play. Say, okay, you know, Bear, I want you to do this. You know, because for example, everybody knows, and I think you're mildly crazy to do this, but the one going down the stairs.
Yep.
Okay. Does that have a name? Or is it just going down the stairs?
Just going down the stairs. Yeah,
Okay.
It's just my sled. So I was really fortunate with our team that, you know, Grant Harrison trusted me so much. He literally, you know, like when I got there, he was just like, listen, you're the mascot, I'm not. And he goes, you know, I'm trusting that you know what you're doing. And he also said, I'm going to give you enough rope to hang yourself, so don't hang yourself.
Well, he's a great guy, so I understand.
Yeah, he's awesome. He is really what helped get the character to where it was, because he took the time to listen and understand what was going on and looked at both sides. So he was an integral part to where the program went. Plus, you know, back in the day, everybody in the organization that, you know, put their hands in to help a little bit here and there. But, you know, all in all, I was kind of an island, and they trusted me enough to do what I was doing, if that makes sense. You know, I know a million times I'd walk in with these ideas on what to do. Like one time I wanted to parachute out of the upper bowl, or out of the rafters.
Okay.
And we went in and we practiced with the dummy doll, and it was just a round chute. And it was actually because I was in the military, and it was a parachute that I had found, and it was for an incendiary round, or a illumination round for him to parachute in. And I thought, that might hold me, at least slow me down enough so I can hit. We went in and we practiced, and I remember they were just like, no.
Yeah,
You're not
the
jumping out of
liability on you has got to be insane, right?
So, I mean, that was fun. I mean, they at least let me try, you know, and think way outside the box. They pulled me back in to save my life many a times.
So what was your favorite stunt to do?
Sled.
Sled.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sled was it was so fun because it was, I just got to know how to drive that sled, and it was fun, and I loved how fast you were going down the stairs, and I loved when you hit the bottom, there was a chance that you were going to wreck, so there was like, you know, I don't know, I really liked it, because even if I wrecked it, I knew I wasn't going to be injured that bad. Does that make sense?
Kind of, but you know, I've had people, you know, I was telling people before coming here, saying, okay, I'm going to be interviewing John Absey, you know, the former Jazz Bear. What kind of questions do you want me to ask, you know? And so people were going, were you ever afraid of hitting the pole or having somebody come out of the aisle?
All the time. I always knew that if I wasn't afraid of something, that it would bite me in the butt. Does that make sense? There has to be a little bit of fear for you to respect what you're doing. You know, have a little respect for the danger in that.
Gotcha.
The biggest fear that I had though was hurting somebody else. That was the last thing I wanted. I'd rather, you know, snap my leg than hurt somebody when they stepped out or did something. But I was really fortunate. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Really fortunate that I was able to do 25 years and basically come away unscathed.
Wow. Well, I'm not sure unscathed. Okay, so
You know what I mean.
Let's talk about that. Okay, so I've got some screws in my back, but I'm pretty sure you got a whole bunch of more injuries than I do. So, what kind of battle scars, so to speak, do you have?
Oh man, so I've had 10 surgeries and 27 torn ligaments, tendons, and muscles, and 158 staples and stitches, which, if you were Travis Pastrana, that's nothing.
Yeah, but well, the fact that you've had 158, not 157, 158 staples and stitches.
Yeah.
I mean, so somebody's keeping track of that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the insurance company. I'm not sure.
A little bit. So no, I mean, there were a ton of injuries, but fun injuries, if nothing else.
Yeah.
They're good stories. How's that?
That's for sure.
I got good stories.
So you say you have a little respect and fear. Your favorite one was the sled. What was the routine that made you the most nervous?
Well, probably the bicycle down the stairs. But the one that made me the most scared out of my whole career was riding a bull. Rodeo guys are so insane. Those guys, I respect the heck out of those guys. They take the cake for craziness, because that takes a whole new level of
Yeah. Well, to give you an idea, I just interviewed a rodeo guy.
Yeah.
And he said that he was a bucking bronc guy, and he said the horses are even scarier than the bulls.
Really?
Because the bulls is kind of a dance, but the horses, he says, it's a fight. He says it's like putting your hand in a vice grip attached to a car and throwing it over a cliff.
Yep.
Going, okay, that's a visual.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I look at you on this ladder, okay? How tall was that big, huge ladder?
23 feet.
23 feet.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, that had to, I don't think you just go to, Home Depot to go pick that one up.
I was really fortunate that I had a really good relationship with Little Giant Ladder, and they're the ones who built that ladder, plus, built all my other ladders that I used. Because I was really into heights. I don't know why, it was just something that, so when I was working, I always was, I'd go to these conferences, I'd see what everybody, because we all had to give a highlight video, and I was watching, and so it's kind of a peek into everybody's arena, and I was seeing what everybody was doing, and when I would come back out of it, I was like, okay, what isn't anybody doing? So I'd have to sit and think that I want to be new and creative, and that's where the ladder started. And then it started out where I was on the ladder and holding signs, and then other mascots started copying it. So then I was like, okay, I got to do something better. So I did a handstand.
Gosh.
And then I caught wind that a couple other mascots were doing it. So then I was like, all right, I'll do a one-arm handstand. And you know what I mean? So that's really what pushed me, is I loved to share information, because then what happens in my mind is when people would copy it, it would just push me to be more creative.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Instead of hiding it and okay, I'm just going to do this. I was constantly trying to think outside the box.
Well, talking ladder, this is punny, but it kind of elevated the acts for everybody.
Yep.
The other thing that I kind of wonder about is people go to a jazz game. It's entertainment, yes, there's no doubt. But let's make no mistake, the athletes that are playing the game aren't the only athletes. What kind of routine did you have to do to be in shape?
The suit itself lent a lot of help. I sweat so much that I could eat anything I wanted. I didn't really have a routine. I hate to say that I just moved. I just made sure that I'd go to the gym and I would lift a little bit, but the biggest thing that I would do was stretch. The flexibility was key.
Okay.
And I think that saved me a lot, because I was so flexible that there were times where I'm like, I should have tore something, but I was luckily that I had the flexibility to do it. And I think honestly, to tell you the truth,
yeah,
I didn't even know I could do the splits until I went to school called Sacred Heart High School, and we were doing, on the football team, they had us do this ballet. And
Okay.
they kept announcing that this ballet company was in town, and when they did it was for a talent contest where
Okay.
all the kids in the school got to do talents and stuff.
Right.
And the last act was the football team, and so nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But when they opened the curtains, it was the football team.
Uh-huh.
And I remember I was supposed to dance forward, and I was going to do something. And I remember that we haven't really decided. And I was like, well, I'm going to try and do the splits. And I remember I was about that far off the ground. I wasn't really close. And the captain of the football team, John Clava, comes over, and I still can't believe it. He just grabbed me and shoved me right to the ground. Boom! And I remember I hit, and I remember I was I was just like, I mean, I was just, he just pushed me there. So that is the first time I realized I could do the splits. Because then after that, I continued to do it. It was good. It was, so thank you, John, if you're out there. I
Well,
appreciate
so
you.
the question is, can you still do the splits now?
Yes, I can. Both legs.
Serious?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, because like I said, I used to do a lot of visits to nursing homes and stuff. And the one thing I noticed is when you get older, because I'd see people in their 60s in wheelchairs and stuff, and a lot of it is due to them just not moving anymore. Sitting down, being docile, watching TV. And to me, it's, you know, I think back about my dad, and my dad lived to be 95. He worked every day out on the farm. And the only reason he passed is he broke his hip, which is why, I don't know, but the kiss of death for old people. And I just fully believe that as long as I keep moving and stretching, that's the key to longevity.
So you mentioned the farm. So what was your first paying job?
Man, I must have been 12, 13, maybe 12 or 13. And Paul Allard had a field. He had fields all over. And I remember I went out, and for summer I hoed his rows for, I think it was 25 cents a row. So that was my first paying job. So, and then other than that, I mean, I don't know if you count lawn. You know, I remember me and Wesley Johnson going and mowing everybody's yard for $5, you know. But, so, I mean, those days were, those were fun days.
Well, one of our underwriters is Rustico, and they have a little hashtag that says "Leave Your Mark." And you know, it's kind of interesting because the way they kind of define it to me is partly, you know, what you want your legacy to be, but the other thing is the fact that life kind of comes with scars. It comes with the patina, the wear, the this and the other. So, how does John Absey want to leave your mark?
That's a good question. I think you hit it on the head. I mean, that is why I really am still trying to pursue all the charity stuff. Why I started all the charity work when I was the Bear, because I mean, I just feel so blessed. I was raised in a great little town in a great school with great friends. I mean, I've just had so many positive things in my life. And when I got this job, I just needed to give back. I wanted to say thank you to the fans and the community for embracing it. I mean, seriously, I mean, it was kind of shocking how many people just said, okay, you're our guy. And I wanted to give back by doing charity work. And now that I'm done, I still want to continue that. And I think the biggest thing about living life is giving back and knowing that when I leave this earth, I left a footprint on it and I have a full church. And I mean, I guess that's all I keep thinking about is I just want to know that I made a difference in somebody else's life. And I don't want to be, you know, that guy that just takes, and I don't care about money. I don't look at money as important. I just look at relationships, and I value my time with my family and my friends.
Well,
How'd that
John,
sound?
I value your time coming here on Jessop's Journal. Thank you
Man,
so much.
I love you. Thank you so much. This is great. I really appreciate everything. And then let me know if I can ever do something for you.
You got it.
All right, buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
John, I don't know about you, but I had a very good time.
I love that. Thank you very much for having me on, Doug.
You know, we have some lovely underwriters, and they want to give you some lovely gifts.
God bless you.
First person is Jessop's Journal, so we got to make a journal just for you.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
From Rustico.
Thank you.
And then they also are giving you a beautiful copper pen.
That's nice.
Ed, my photographer, says this sucker writes itself.
Oh, that's
Loves
beautiful.
it. The folks at Taylor Cooperative, we want to thank them for letting us tape here, but they're also the guys that make my shirts. They're going to make you your very own custom shirt.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Talking about custom, I wear a lot of hats. You're going to get one too. The folks at JW Custom Hats are really excited to make you your very own.
This is like Christmas.
Yep.
It's happening.
Christmas continues. The folks at Liquid Dirt, my organic green thumb guys, giving you a beautiful plant there. And of course, we have the adult beverages from Ogden's own distillery.
It happens to be my wife's 50th birthday today, so that will come in handy.
There you go. Perfect. The thing I want people to remember, John, is that stories have power.
Yes.
They help us understand each other. With another entry into Jessop's Journal and John Absey, the original Jazz Bear, I'm Doug Jessop, ABC4 News.